All right, welcome back to WMAC Now with your host Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to part one of the WMMA Prospect Watch 2022. When I was doing my year-end awards for 2021, and I was trying to figure out who to award the Prospect to Watch in 2022, that award, I ended up coming up with more nominees than any other category. I think 6 total categories, and that award had more nominees than any other. So I thought, well, instead of like just awarding one, which I did award one, give one fighter the award, like the prospect to watch. I said, well, maybe I should do a video covering all of them. And then the more I started working on that, the longer the list got. So here you have part one, which is going to feature 7 prospects to watch in 2022, and they are all over the spectrum as far as weight class, background, fighter style, where they're from, what region they're from. It's a pretty diverse list, and I think all of these ladies that I'm going to list have something to offer, and they're all prospects that you're going to want to keep an eye on over the course of the following year. So let's get into it. Part one of WMMA Prospect Watch 2022. First up, at atom weight / straw weight, because she's fighting in one championship, we have Victoria the Prodigy Lee. Victoria is 17 years old. She stands 5 feet 5 inches, 166 centimeters tall. Now, Victoria is undefeated at 3-0, with her last victory coming via way of TKO at a one championship event back on September 24th. Now, Victoria made her pro debut last year for one championship and has already fought 3 times in the calendar year. She debuted, submitted her first 2 opponents, debuted back in February of last year, submitted her first opponent via rear naked choke, then armbarred her next opponent, and then her third opponent, she finished via TKO. So Victoria is very promising prospect at a young age of 17 years old, already getting a big push from a big promotion. She's definitely someone to keep an eye out on. Now, one thing I also want to note is that while she has carried a decent size advantage into each of her fights, all of her opponents had much more experience. Every opponent she has faced so far came in with 5 fights to their name. So she's young, but she's someone to keep an eye out on, and she fights a lot like her older sister. In fact, I would say she actually shows more promise than her older sister, one championship atomweight champion Angela Lee. So definitely keep an eye on Victoria. Next up, we move to flyweight. Theresa Bleda, who was the prospect to watch in 2022. Theresa is 19 years old. She stands 5 feet 9 inches, 175 centimeters tall. She carries a professional record of 5 wins, 0 losses. Her last bout was a TKO win at Octagon 30 on December 30th, where she captured the inaugural Octagon MMA flyweight title. Theresa Bleda, like I said, she was the prospect to watch in 2022. She was the award winner for good reason. I mean, she has 5 fights in less than 2 years. Actually, she only had 1 fight in 2020 and then 4 fights in 2021. And all but one of her fights have ended via finish. So 5 fights, 1 fight, she finished her opponent in the second round, and the 1 fight went to a decision. The rest were all in the first round. She is an absolute beast in the cage to watch, and she is very big for flyweight. She actually started out at bantamweight, and if I were her and I were looking to get, fights, more fights internationally outside of Czech Republic and Slovakia, I would start telling, promoters, hey, I can fight flyweight or bantamweight, and she can compete in either one and beat opponents there. So obviously, Theresa Bleda is the prospect to watch in 2022. Sticking at flyweight, we have Sumiko Inaba. Sumiko is 30 years old. She stands 5 feet 4 inches, 163 centimeters tall, carries a professional record of 3 wins, 0 losses. Her last fight was a submission win, the arm triangle choke at Bellator 268 on October 16th. Sumiko's another one. She had a pretty busy 2021. Now, she fought in November of 2020, making her pro debut in Bellator, and then fought twice last year. So she has been keeping busy. And I got to tell you, I like what I've seen from her so far in only 3 fights. Every fight, she gets better, and she is building a solid foundation on how she goes and wins her fights. Goes out there, strikes to the grappling, or strikes to the takedowns, gets her takedowns, and works on her opponents on the ground. Everything she does, she has a solid plan, which is really nice to see in a fighter that is very, inexperienced. So I normally wouldn't put someone on here that's in like one of the big promotions, but because she started out there and has looked so good so far, had to include Sumiko Inaba. Next, we move down to atomweight. Moira Suda. Moira Suda is 17 years old. She stands 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters tall. She carries a professional record of 4-2. She last fought and won via submission at Deep Jewels 35 on December 11th. So Moira Suda, when she first started back in 2020, in October, I didn't think much of her. She fought in October and December of 2020 and lost her first 2 fights. However, she came into 2021 like a bat out of hell, beating all 4 opponents she faced. She fought in April, July, October, and December, splitting between submissions and decisions. And each opponent she's faced has looked a little bit better and has shown a lot of growth from those first 2 initial losses. So Moira Suda, she actually has another fight coming up in March at Deep Jewels 36. She's moving up to 49 kilograms, which is super atom weight. So she's probably looking for a chance to move up to the big stage in Japan at Rizin. So definitely keep an eye on Moira Suda, who's going to look to improve to 5 wins. Next, we move up to strawweight. Tawny Torres. Tawny is 27 years old. She stands 5 feet 5 inches, 165 centimeters tall. Carries a professional record of 5 wins, 0 losses. And she last fought on August 6th of 2021 at Lux 15, where she picked up the inaugural Lux strawweight title, winning the Lux strawweight tournament as well. Tawny is a very fun fighter to watch. Nice heavy-handed boxing, good footwork, knows how to use the jab, just solid fundamentals in her striking. Now, I've seen very, very little of her ground game. So hoping to see that tested when she next fights and hoping that she gets to defend that title soon. But so far from what I've seen, I like what I see. I mean, she fought once in 2019, made her debut, fought twice in 2020 and twice in 2021. So she's keeping busy, not super busy, but still busy. And, 3 of those fights were for the Lux strawweight tournament. And like I said, she made it to the end, winning the tournament and the title as well. Also, she was one half of my 2021 fight of the year against Soraya Roscoe when she won that strap in a grueling 5-round decision that was just absolute non-stop action. So Tawny Torres, next time you see her, If it's in Lux, it'll be on UFC Fight Pass. Do not miss it. Next, we move all the way up to bantamweight for Dakota de Chava. Dakota is 23 years old. She stands 5 feet 8 inches, 173 centimeters tall, is undefeated with 4 wins, 0 losses, and she last fought, picking up a TKO win at Palace Athena 1 just last weekend from the time of this recording on January 15th, winning via TKO over a much more experienced Brazilian opponent. Dakota, I hadn't watched her fight before Palace Athena, and I had seen other people talking about her and saying, you got to watch her. She's one to keep an eye on. And after I saw her win this fight, I looked up a couple of her other fights, and I am very impressed. 4 wins, 4 finishes, all via TKO. Absolute mauler in the cage. Always looking for the finish. Very aggressive. Great style. Can't say enough about this young lady without, just droning on and on and on. But next time she fights, keep an eye out, because she's a prospect to watch in 2022. And then last but not least, for part 1, we have Loveth Young. Loveth is the second oldest fighter on the entire list, oldest fighter on part 1. She is 32 years old. She stands 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters tall. She is a strawweight, if I didn't mention that. She has a professional record of 3-1-1. And she last fought at LFA 97 on January 15th, 2021, winning via TKO. If you like to see one-punch knockouts, if you like to see ladies just absolutely lay out their opponent with one punch, you got to watch Loveth Young. All that muscle she's packing is not just for show. She knows how to apply it into her fists, and she is absolutely exciting to watch. She came in her first fight ever back in 2018, picked up a split draw against the then King of the Cage champion, rematched her later that year, and defeated her via rear naked choke in the first round. Suffered her first loss in LFA in 2020, and then picked up 2 more wins, both of them via knockout or technical knockout. Didn't have a very busy 2021. Unfortunately, she caught COVID, and it was pretty bad. She also had, I believe, 2 fights canceled, first in October and then in November. So she's had some unfortunate luck. But like I said, if you want to see some knockouts, you definitely want to watch every fight of Loveth Young. So there you have it. That is part 1 of the WMMA prospects to watch in 2022. Part 2 will be coming up pretty shortly. I'll have 6 more fighters for you to keep an eye on. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts on these ladies in the comments down below. Now, if you like the video, please give it a like. Don't forget to share it as well. Let other people know about these prospects. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.